a chronological Bible in 365 episodes. This is episode 306, containing portions of the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, continuing at Matthew 26. And those who had laid hold of Jesus led him away to Caiaphas the high priest, where the scribes and the elders were assembled.
But Peter followed him at a distance to the high priest's courtyard, and he went in, and he sat with the servants to see the end.
Now the chief priests, the elders, and all the council sought false testimony against Jesus to put him to death.
But found none. Even though many false witnesses came forward, they found none. But at the last, 2 false witnesses came forward
And said, "This fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and to build it in 3 days.
And the high priest arose and said to him, Do you answer nothing? What is it these men testify against you?
But Jesus kept silent, and the high priest answered and said to him, I put you under oath by the living God. Tell us if you are the Christ, the Son of God.
Jesus said to him, It is as you said. Nonetheless, I say to you, hereafter you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the power, and coming on the clouds of heaven.
Then the high priest tore his clothes, saying, He has spoken blasphemy. What further need do we have of witnesses? Look, now you have heard his blasphemy.
What do you think? They answered and said, He is deserving death.
Then they spat in his face and beat him, and others struck him with the palms of their hands,
saying, Prophesy to us, Christ. Who is the one who struck you?
Now Peter sat outside in the courtyard, and a servant girl came to him, saying, You also were with Jesus of Galilee.
And he denied it before them all, saying, I do not know what you are saying.
And when he had gone out to the gateway, another girl saw him and said to those who were there, This fellow also was with Jesus of Nazareth.
But again he denied with an oath, I do not know that man.
And a little later, those who stood by came up and said to Peter, Surely you also are one of them, for your speech betrays you.
Then he began to curse and swear, saying, I do not know the man. Immediately a rooster crowed.
And Peter remembered the words of Jesus, who had said to him, Before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. So he went out and wept bitterly.
When morning came, all the chief priests and elders of the people plotted against Jesus to put him to death.
When they had bound him, they led him away and delivered him to Pontius Pilate, the governor.
Then Judas, his betrayer, seeing that he had been condemned, was remorseful. And he brought back the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders,
saying, I have sinned by betraying innocent blood. And they said, What is that to us? You see to it.
Then he threw down the pieces of silver in the temple and departed and went and hanged himself.
But the chief priests took the silver pieces and said, It is not lawful to put them into the treasury, because they are the price of blood.
And they consulted together and brought with them the potter's field to bury strangers in.
Therefore that field has been called the field of blood to this day.
Then was fulfilled what was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, And they took the 30 pieces of silver, the value of him who was priced, whom they of the children of Israel priced,
and gave them for the potter's field, as the Lord directed me.
Continuing in Mark 14:53, and they led Jesus away to the high priest, and with him were assembled all the chief priests, the elders, and the scribes.
But Peter followed him at a distance, right into the courtyard of the high priest, and he sat with the servants and warmed himself at the fire.
Now the chief priests and all the council sought testimony against Jesus to put him to death, but found none.
For many bore false witness against him, but their testimonies did not agree.
Then some rose up and bore false witness against him, saying,
We heard him say, I will destroy this temple made with hands, and within 3 days I will build another made without hands.
But not even then did their testimony agree.
And the high priest stood up in the midst and asked Jesus, saying, Do you answer nothing? What is it these men testify against you?
But he kept silent and answering nothing. Again the high priest asked him, saying to him, Are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed?
Jesus said, I am. And you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the power and coming with the clouds of heaven."
Then the high priest tore his clothes and said, "What further need do we have of witnesses?
"You have heard the blasphemy. What do you think?" And they all condemned him to be deserving of death.
Then some began to spit on him, and to blindfold him, and to beat him. And he said to them, "Prophesy!" And the officers struck him with the palms of their hands.
Now as Peter was below in the courtyard, one of the servant girls of the high priest came.
And when she saw Peter warming himself, she looked at him and said, "You also are with Jesus of Nazareth."
But he denied it, saying, "I neither know nor understand what you are saying." And he went out on the porch, and a rooster crowed.
And the servant girl saw him again, and began to say to those who stood by, "This is one of them."
But he denied it again. And a little later, those who stood by said to Peter again, "Surely you are one of them, for you are a Galilean, and your speech shows it."
Then he began to curse and swear, "I do not know this man whom you speak."
A second time the rooster crowed. Then Peter called to mind the word that Jesus had said to him, "Before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times." And when he thought about it, he wept. Immediately in the morning, the chief priests held a consultation with the elders and scribes and the whole council. And they bound Jesus, led him away, and delivered him to Pilate.
Continuing in Luke 22:54. Having arrested him, they led him and brought him into the high priest's house. But Peter followed at a distance.
Now when they had kindled a fire in the midst of the courtyard and sat down together, Peter sat among them.
And a certain servant girl, seeing him as he sat by the fire, looked intently at him and said, "This man was also with him."
But he denied him, saying, "Woman, I do not know him."
And after a little while another saw him and said, "You also are of them." But Peter said, "Man, I am not."
Then after about an hour had passed, another confidently affirmed, saying, "Surely this fellow also was with him, for he is a Galilean."
But Peter said, "Man, I do not know what you're saying." Immediately, while he was still speaking, the rooster crowed.
And the Lord turned and looked at Peter. And Peter remembered the word of the Lord, how he had said to him, "Before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times."
So Peter went out, and he wept bitterly.
As soon as it was day, the elders of the people, both chief priests and scribes, came together and led him into their council, saying,
"If you are the Christ, tell us." But he said to them, "If I tell you, you will by no means believe.
"And if I also ask you, you will by no means answer me or let me go."
Hereafter the Son of Man will sit on the right hand of the power of God."
Then they all said, "Are you then the Son of God?" So he said to them, "You rightly say that I am."
And they said, "What further testimony do we need? For we have heard it ourselves from his own mouth."
Continuing at John 18:25. Now Simon Peter stood and warmed himself. Therefore they said to him, "You are not also one of his disciples, are you?" He denied it and said, "I am not."
One of the servants of the high priest, a relative of him whose ear Peter cut off, said, "Did I not see you in the garden with him?"
Peter then denied again, and immediately a rooster crowed.
You're listening to One Gospel with Heath and Holly. Be sure to like our videos and subscribe.